Hi, I'm Christian. Welcome back to another On the Road video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Stop. Before beginning any repair, always be sure to disconnect the power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for proper voltage. The tools you will need to complete this repair are a 1/4 inch nut driver, a pair of needle nose pliers, or a standard flat blade screwdriver. Today we're working on a Whirlpool range. The customer's issue is that after they have finished using the electronic cooktop, the cooktop indicator light stays on, as you can see. So we're going to diagnose and hopefully repair the oven today. So to begin, we do have to pull out the oven to get to the back, remove power, and disassemble the top service panel. Now we have pulled the unit out and we have accessibility to the back panels here. The first thing we want to do is disconnect this. It's about 1 inch long or wide. There's 2 1/4 inch screws, one on each side, mounting this panel in place. You want to go ahead and remove both those screws. Once you remove one side, go ahead and hold on to the panel with the other hand as you remove the other screw. Just like that. Now you can set that panel and the screws aside. So after we've removed that little center bracket here, we're gonna loosen up the top 3 screws on this bottom panel. They're all 1/4 inch. In total, we will be removing 6. This is just to give us enough room to flex this top panel out of place. You can see it's already flexing out. So once we remove the 6 screws, we can continue to remove this top panel here. To do so, there's 2 1/4 inch screws, one on each side. Go ahead and remove them. You can now flex this panel down and out. Just like so. Now we're going to set this aside. Be careful when you're handling this panel, it is very sharp. So we have actually diagnosed that the infinite switch that was giving us a problem where it was keeping the cooktop indicator light illuminated was the rear left burner infinite switch. So we're going to be replacing the switch. Now, the way that you diagnose an issue like this is you have to actually disconnect the power going to the infinite switch one at a time. So the power is actually the connectors with the black and red wires. You can see there's 2 wires because it feeds power to the other infinite switches. So once you disconnect the correct switch, the indicator light will go off and that'll give you a diagnosis on which infinite switch has failed. Now we're ready to actually replace this old infinite switch with a new one. As you can see, we have the top wire connector disconnected. Now we want to disconnect the bottom one. To do so, I'm just going to use a pair of needle nose pliers and pull straight off. You might have to wiggle it a little bit, but it should just pull straight off. Sometimes when they've been seated on there for a while, like this one has, I had to use a little bit of force to disconnect it. So once it's disconnected, we can reach around to the front here. This is the one that we're replacing. We're going to pull the knob straight off. You just grab it, pull it straight off. We're going to set this aside on my mat here. Now there are 2 number 2 Phillips style screws that are securing the infinite switch in place. We want to go ahead and remove those 2 screws. Now, while we remove the 2 screws, we want to go ahead and, at least once we're ready to remove the 2nd screw, hold the infinite switch in the back with your free hand. Just like that, and pull it out. Now, pay attention when you pull the switch out to make sure what way it's going to go on. Now, I pulled the switch out exactly like this. There was a D on the opening for a screw here. So when I go to return my new infinite switch, I want to make sure that the D is facing up. Now we're ready to install the new infinite switch. To do so, we're going to line up the shaft with the opening in the center here, feed it through, and then we're going to go ahead and resecure the infinite switch with the 2 number 2 Phillips style screws we removed earlier. There's one. And here's the second one. Now we're ready to replace the wire connectors. They are key to fit on only one way. So go ahead and line up the wires, wire terminals, and then push straight on the wire connector until it's fully seated, like so, and do the same for the other connection up top. Just like that. Once the wire connectors have been installed in the back, we can go ahead and return the knob up front. Now, the shaft is a D-shaped shaft, so line up the knob accordingly, and then push it straight on. Now, to make sure that we did this job correctly, I'm going to return power, and this indicator light should be off. Now we're ready to reinstall the top control service panel. To do so, we want to make sure all the wires are tucked inside of this panel. Line the panel up. Make sure you don't accidentally break or cut any wires. Like I said, this panel is very sharp. So once the bottom is somewhat lined up, we can go ahead and tuck the front under the lip, like so. Line the screw holes up on the side, and then re-secure this panel with the 2 1/4-inch screws we removed from the top. Once the top panel has been reinstalled, we can go ahead and re-secure this bottom panel here. Now, using the 6 1/4-inch screws we removed earlier, we're going to go ahead and re-secure these. We're going to go ahead and re-secure this panel. There's 3 1/4-inch screws that go on each side. I'm going to start with the top screw and then work my way down. Now we're ready to reinstall the center bracket here. To do so, you're just going to line it up like so, and then return the 2 1/4-inch screws that secure it in place. Once all the brackets have been returned and all the screws are securing all the brackets in place, this will complete your repair.
Thank you for watching another quality in-home repair video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.